Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss about the payloads in Chandrayaan-3. So let's start our video. First of all, what is a payload? Payload is that part of a vehicle from which revenue is derived, like passengers and cargo. So the load which the vehicle carry from which it generates income or through which the important task is done. These are known as the payload, and the Chandrayaan-3 has 7 payloads, and this whole project may be divided into 3, which is the propulsion module, the Vikram lander, and the Pragyan rover. Out of this, the propulsion module has 1 payload, the Vikram lander has 4 payloads, and the Pragyan rover has 2 payloads. So let's see one by one the functions of these payloads. The propulsion module has 1 payload which is named as SHAPE. The full form of SHAPE is Spectropolarimetry of Habitable Planet Earth. So what this SHAPE will do is it will observe the Earth and it will observe the qualities and components which make Earth habitable, due to which life is possible on Earth. As of now, we have discovered more than 5,000 plus exoplanets, but in which the life is possible could survive. Life could survive, and in which life cannot survive can be understood with this instrument SHAPE. And how does this SHAPE is able to do this task is by studying the visible rays coming from our planet Earth and comparing it with the rays coming from the other exoplanets. And through this, the scientists will be able to identify in which the directions they should try to discover the planets in which the aliens might be present. Okay, the planets which in future might become our colonies, but they are millions of light years away from us and they can't be observed with any telescope, but the light coming from these planets could be studied, by studying their visible spectrum. Visible spectrum means the spectrum of light which can be seen, but there are other rays which when they struck an object, they some of these rays gets absorbed and some do not, and on the basis of this they will the SHAPE will study how are the rays coming from the Earth and compare with the rays coming from the other exoplanets, and it will observe from which direction they are coming. So by knowing this, they will be able to identify the direction in which they should try to discover those planets. Okay, so this is what the SHAPE will do. Next is the Vikram lander, which consists of 4 payloads, which are the first is ILSA. The full form of ILSA is Instrument for Lunar Seismic Activity. Like the name itself suggests, it will study the seismic activity which occurs on the moon. And we all know that earthquakes occur in the Earth, and similarly the moonquakes occur in the moon. And Chandrayaan-3 not only want to study the surface of the moon, but also want to study the core of the moon. And how it will do is by studying the seismic activity of the moon. Okay, then the next payload is Rambha. The full form of Rambha is Radio Anatomy of the Moon Bound Hypersensitive Ionosphere and Atmosphere. The function of Rambha is to study the moon's ionosphere. In the Earth, we know there is a layer of atmosphere, and apart from the atmosphere there is another layer called the magnetosphere, which saves us from the harmful radiations coming from the sun. But in the moon there is no any such magnetospheric layer, so the sun rays directly hit the moon surface, and due to the solar radiation and the surface of the moon, there occurs a layer of ionosphere of charged particles around the moon. And so this Rambha will help study that layer of ionosphere around the moon. And the moon's ionosphere is 1 million times less dense than that of the Earth's ionosphere, and not much research is available about this, so this Rambha will play a great role in this. Okay, next payload is the CHASTE. The full form of CHASTE is Chandra's Surface Thermophysical Experiment. and its main function is to study the impact of heat on the moon. In future, if we want to set a human colony in the moon, there we have to make different structures like buildings to and have climate control over the atmosphere to control its control its temperature, as the temperature around the moon fluctuates a lot. So to do this, it's very important to study the temperature and the impact of heat on the moon, and the Chaste device will help in that. And the next payload is LRA, which is the Laser Reflectometer Array, and this instrument is given by NASA. Remember this. So how this instrument will act is like a sonar. I hope you all must be knowing how a sonar works, and if you forgot, you can just look into the picture I have attached in the right side of the video. This is how the sonar works. In sonar, the submarine send sound waves through the water, and it tracks the time it takes the waves to hit the surface of the ocean or the sea and come back, and in this way the depth of the ocean or the sea is calculated. Okay, and in similar manner, the LRA, the Laser Reflectometer Array, will help to measure the distance between the earth and the moon with the help of laser rays, and it will help in better calculations for the future projects. Okay, like in 1970s only, the Apollo programs that NASA placed such reflectometers on the moon, but now, as we know, the technologies has much improved, and now America is also going to launch the Artemis mission, and in which they are going, after almost 50 years, that America is going to send humans on the moon. So risk has to be taken care of, and so the calculations has to be accurate, so ISRO is helping in that as well. Next is the payload attached to the Pragyan rover. Two payloads are attached to the Pragyan rover. First is the APSC alpha particle X-ray spectrometer, and it is a kind of radioactive pistol which will study the soil on the moon and the elements in the soil, and this device will have curium as the radioactive element, and alpha particles and X-rays from it will be blasted on a moon surface and later studied, and focus will be on finding the aluminum, magnesium and iron traces. The next payload attached to the Pragyan rover is LIBS, Laser Induced Breakdown Spectrometer, and it will also help in studying the soil of the moon with the help of light. So these two payloads, they will help to study the soil in the moon, and these two payloads are important because many elements will be required to build structures for research stations and humans to thrive on the moon for a longer period. So it is beneficial to search the available materials which are on the moon, so that least materials are needed to be taken from the earth. Alright, so these are the payloads from Chandrayaan-3. So in this video we discussed the various payloads. In another video I will discuss the importance of Chandrayaan-3. So till then, stay tuned. Thank you for watching.